we finally got the story for the number 500.
Yeah, number 500 was just a comment, I believe, not this Christmas just passed, but the Christmas before. And he decided to send in his story. And I'm going to warn you guys right now, this is a tough one.
Yeah.
This is really rough what he went through. He goes by Step Troll the Drunkering on Rumble. He says, this is kind of long, but it's really not. It's a very, very short email by comparison to some that we get. He says, I've been meaning to send this for a while, not really sure where to begin, so I might as well just jump right into it. In 2021, I suffered massive blows to my mental health and, quite frankly, my physical well-being. At the start of 2021, my girlfriend and fiance of 6 years died quite literally in my arms.
Oh, wow. That's a tough one, man. Oh,
she was 32, weighed about 120, extremely fit, worked out every day. On January 6th, we were spending an evening together like any other. She had just given me a hug and a kiss on the cheek and was about to sit down and eat dinner. It was probably about a minute before I realized she wasn't talking. And when I turned to look at her, she was having what looked like a seizure.
It's an aneurysm.
Yeah. I called an ambulance, and while waiting for them to show up, unless it was, clot shot, very possible, early 2021.
Yeah.
I called an ambulance, and while waiting for them to show up, she slumped over in my arms and took her last breath.
Oh, my God.
I performed CPR until the paramedics arrived and took over. By the time I got to the hospital, they told me the horrible news that she had died. I was, to say the very least, devastated and distraught. At the time, I was living with her in a schoolie that we had built and were traveling in. Very better bachelor of you. Fast forward to December. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm missing that one. My father, the night after, he flew out and came down to be with me for 2 weeks as I wouldn't eat. And honestly, I don't really remember sleeping more than 2 hours a day. After that, I drove my schoolie up to Wisconsin where he lived, got an apartment and a job. Staying in the schoolie was just too hard for me as all I could see was what we had built together. Fast forward to December of the same year, my father was in the hospital with the vid and pneumonia. I should preface that he would get pneumonia on a regular basis as he was never one to take very good care of himself. I remember him calling me the night before they put him on a ventilator. He sounded very uneasy, possibly terrified, but I know he was probably trying not to worry me. I told him that I loved him and that he would make it through as he had in the past, and sadly, I was very wrong. I tried to see him in the hospital and was denied access as I had refused to jab.
All right, you need to file a fucking lawsuit against that hospital. You're still within the statute of limitations. That is some horse shit right there.
You ain't kidding.
God damn it.
They had quite literally told me that if I came back to see him, they would have the police remove me from the hospital grounds.
You should have went back, have them remove you, arrest you, then you would have a lawsuit against the cops.
Yep. For the rest of the month, I received very few updates from the hospital until about 3 days prior to being told he would need to be on a ventilator for the remainder of his life, as the pneumonia had basically damaged his lungs so badly they wouldn't function on their own. Well, not only that, but if your dad was a patient, he was probably jabbed as well.
Yeah, and what they also
would explain a lot of this.
What they put you on the ventilator when you have the vid is they turn the pressure up to try to get through a lot of that mucus to get oxygen to the small sacs in your lung. And a lot of people, especially older individuals, it literally bursts their lung like a balloon.
Perforates it.
Yeah. God damn.
Shit. They recommended due to him having 3 heart attacks. So he was lucky to still be around in general.
Yeah, gotcha. I would still file a lawsuit against the hospital.
That we say our goodbyes and pull the plug. I was infuriated that I wasn't allowed to be with him at the end, but wasn't given a choice. I did say my goodbyes to him via a Zoom call along with my sisters. I didn't do this because the hospital said so. I did this because my father and I have always had very candid conversations with one another, and we had both agreed months prior that if either one of us ever was on life support or needed a machine to live, we would do the other the respect of letting one another go, as neither of us wanted less quality of life. Keep in mind, this was 5 days prior to Christmas of 2021.
Oh, my
Merry friggin' Christmas to you.
Oh, Lord.
It was shortly after this, on the 1-year anniversary of my fiance's death, that it all caught up and it hit me harder than any trauma I'd ever experienced. I went down a spiral to the bottom of at least 10 bottles of whiskey in less than 4 days.
I've been there, bro. I've been there.
Oh.
Yep.
I don't quite remember what day it was or if it was a live stream or catching up on a stream, but I remember coming out of a drunken haze to a Popp knife hand, literally saying, "You do not need a permanent solution to a temporary problem." It was at that point that I looked down and realized I had a knife in my hands already on my wrist.
Whoa.
Ooh.
I immediately put it down and proceeded to dump the remaining bottles of whiskey out. I woke up the next day with a few holes in the walls and a massive hangover, and remembered Popp's other statement of, "I need to unfuck my life." About 6 months later, I moved out to Wyoming, and I have to say I've been far happier with that decision than I thought I would be. I have since gone from 250 pounds down to 185
Yeah.
in the last year. Keep in mind I'm 5'10", so
Uh-huh.
he's probably looks very similar build to me. I know that I had not been a fan of this. I know that had I not been a fan of this channel or listened to Popp's Knife Hand, I wouldn't be here now. And I can't say thank you guys enough for all that you do. Never ever let the haters or the naysayers dissuade you guys from doing what you do.
You know what Steve just said earlier when I was talking to him on the phone?
What?
He's like, Popp, you got to understand. You say 540 some odd dudes and you're just fucking around.
Yeah, we
I'm like-
really are.
I'm like, wow. Just imagine if I was actually able to get into the limelight and focus on this, how much more dangerous to the forces of death and evil I would be. I'm just fucking around here.
That's what we do.
Like we started the show just to have some fucking fun, poke some fucking, our finger at feminism and the Western world and how fucked up they are and how they hate men.
But you got efficient.
Yeah, we got efficient, and we made some people famous by accident.
Yeah,
I don't think as many people would know who Amy Horton is.
you're right. You're absolutely correct.
I mean, the woman has been a prolific writer for over a decade.
Yeah.
And her Twitter has fewer followers than our Instagram.
Okay.
And not only that, but like all of the videos that, like, just one of our videos is probably more views than all of her articles combined.
Wow. Yeah, maybe.
How much free ad time do you think she got from you guys?
I'm sure it's the kind that she appreciates.
No.
But she's still getting that. I mean,
Yeah, I know.
It's like,
even bad publicity is publicity, man.
she wouldn't make it on OnlyFans.
But here's the thing.
Well,
This is my ESP talking here.
your ESP. Okay.
This is my ESP. Down the road, I believe that I don't want her to do this, but this is my ESP speaking.
Your ESP.
She self-deletes, and then
No.
the red pill guys, including us, get blamed for it.
I certainly hope not.
I see an alternative happening, Pop. I see her hitting you up someday. Hey, what you doing tonight, Pop?
Probably become a binge drinker, in all honesty. That's the newest growing trend among middle-aged women who have never married, no kids, is the binge drinking.
It's kind of like amazing how these feminists are starting to fall into male behaviors in their middle age.
It's almost like trying to be men and thinking that you don't need one doesn't make you happy.
Yeah. Yeah, just like those men who decided to get married and are stuck in bad relationships and they can never escape, so they drink themselves to death.
Things
Could be it sounds like a legitimate theory to me.
That's very possible. Don't look at me. I'm drinking water. So. And you've got your herbal tea.
Herbal tea with one shot to cut my balls.
Ginger and honey.
How about you, Skid? You drinking tonight?
Oh, just coffee and a few other things. But just back to that story there for a second, man. That dude went through some serious shit, and Christmas is always the worst. For everybody. So it's really cool that he reached out just to let us know and motivate other guys to get through their stuff. We're just coming off the end of Christmas season now, and thanks for sharing and stay strong.
There's a lot of guys out there who I issue numbers to, and they were just comments.
Yep.
I just copy and paste them, send them to you, give them a number, and I think I started actually issuing numbers in the early 60s to mid 60s because we did
the real number. We'll never know it. It's probably larger than we'll ever conceive of.
Yeah, I know, but the Purple Heart's Final Beat that came out in 2009.
Yep.
And I looked at I used to carry little books with me everywhere I went, and I used to keep track. Somewhere in 2011, we were somewhere between 120 and 150.
Oh.
By 2011. So in a year and a half.
But that was before comedy.
That was before we even started just poking fun at the shit.
Yeah, and then we did start using the comedy to kind of point people in the direction. Every once in a while, we're like, hey, we do serious shit too.
Though, like you say that you're just kind of fucking around, but it's like, it may be that's what really works though. Like, you can imagine someone's down and out. They're not going to have the wherewithal to look up something serious. They're not reaching. They're just looking for something funny somewhere. And then they find you, that message comes through. So maybe it turns out, even though you think that this kind of this roundabout way, maybe you are going direct to where you need to be. Just a thought.
Listen, man, there's something at work here that's beyond our understanding. That's all I can say.
Watch Grunt Speak live every Tuesday and Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you want to join Popp for Supporters Sundays, go to redonkulous.com/donate and make a monthly pledge. A link is in the Meat Gazer box.